Okay guys, John V3 IPS again. So what I did now is, if you look at the previous video, you would definitely see that the slider coil, very stiff because it's very strong, it's making excellent contact against these wire elements here, which is the inductance coil. This may be, you know, I would estimate maybe 50 microhenry coil, so it's going to cover 80 meters and up. I really wanted this antenna for the low band coverage, for something I can set up quickly. The other antennas require additional coils that got to be screwed on. It's just more components. Here I can have everything all very simple, all in one piece. I don't have to be, you know, connecting things up and down. But if I want to go to 80 to 20, I can just slide this up and down. I don't have to take things apart and re-put coils on it. So for me, deploying, being quick in what I'm doing, it's sort of like following the radar guys. Rapid amateur deployment, amateur radio, or rapid antenna deployment, amateur radio, radar. They do a bunch of different events. You set up a station, you hike down the trail, go down a kilometer, a mile, set up the station again, hike another mile, set up the station again, another mile, make your way back. So it's just practicing emergency communication, getting things set up. Probably things that you would do in the military. The RTO would be setting up things often. If you talk to some of the guys or read some of the books about the Vietnam RTOs, and thank those guys for their service, RTOs were always the ones that they would try to get shoot at first, because they were running the radios, or at least try to shoot them to break their radios. But they're always setting things up. And they had two antennas, a short antenna and a long antenna. They already knew which antennas would work and what they wanted to do. And then they also had a very, very long rhombic that the LRRP guys would use when they were out on their patrols. So if you look at the previous video, we were up higher up on the coil here to tune up on 20 meters. Here now we're tuned up on 80 meters. It's way, way down, because now we're using more of the coil inductance. So if I look at my meter here, let me put it on the band. And ONTARS is on 3755. 3800 is the DX frequency on 3800, 2.4 to 1 SWR. If I go down to 3770, it's 1.1, 3755, it's 1.0. So you can get perfect SWR with this antenna. So now I can unplug this from the iPortable Field Antenna SWR Analyzer. They do not make this version anymore. They make a version that includes 6 meters. The one I have only goes up to 30 megs. Okay, so now we're on 3755. And again, a lot of the signals are kind of short on 80 meters, right? Especially during the day. Dipoles, they're typically around 20, 30 feet high. Backyard, typically NVIS style type communication, high angle coming down, local regionalized communication. So we're running a vertical on it, so the signals are going to be a little bit down, but I'm getting S7. Not a bad day today for radio conditions. But to really do better stuff when it comes down to NVIS, you actually end up tilting the antenna. And as you can see, the signal is increasing. Because now I'm increasing the angle of radiation. And maybe the sweet spot is right there. So the question is, how do we maintain this to be all the time? Well, I'm planning on using an angled bracket, and that's what I'm going to end up using for it. So now I went vertical there, and I lost a little bit of the energy. And if I go back to a high angle of radiation, the signal picks up. So there's a great way to take a look at how NVIS works. Because you remember, NVIS is not an antenna, it's a propagation scheme. And the propagation scheme is where the signals go up at a high angle and come back down within a 200, 300, 400 mile radius. I don't know if this net control check-in, I think he may be in Sudbury, which is about 300 miles away.
Yeah, I know, that's
300 kilometers away.
The frustrating part about the 4 o'clock hour. Usually starts out just miserable.
Okay, so there you go. Another look at the REZ Ranger 80. So far, I'm very, very impressed with, incredibly impressed with the antenna build quality. This is pretty solid. I think this tripod's going to be pretty solid as well. I don't think I need any additional weight on it. It seems to be loading up okay, and there is a bit of a push. You know, you really have to kind of push it to go over. But then again, you do have that extra layer there in case of extremely high winds there that I'm not experienced right now, but we'll take a look at when we do that. They've added some additional holes in the radial puck to add additional radials or counterpoises to it, so that might be something as well to try. It does come with 4 at roughly 35 feet, so that's going to be perfect to load up on 40 meters. The inductance will change with that, but maybe I can get a little bit better signal output if I add a couple of long wires on it, so I'm thinking maybe spool up a couple at 66 feet. For that lower band coverage. But again, the primary purpose for me to purchase this was to really look at something that can be deployed very quickly, something that you buy once, cry once, so you're investing in a high quality component, and when you invest in high quality components, they're going to last a long time. And the last thing I would want is, you know, having issues where I'm out in the field where something's going to break. This isn't going to break. This thing's pretty solid and heavy too. Of all the solid metal that's being used in its place, stainless steel hardware, all done properly. And as Michael has indicated on his website, his mission was to create the highest quality portable antenna on the planet, available to ham radio operators that want to do parks on the air, summits on the air. We can use the spike for that, or even the tripod, because usually there's no trees to put anything up, so a vertical antenna. Okay, so see, Mike is in Woodstock, Ontario. That's about 250 kilometers away from here. So we're in this low range of communication on 80 meters today. Yeah, so parks on the air operation, summits on the air operation. This would be perfect for MCOM. Or ARES, Amateur Radio Emergency Service, races. This obviously can cover the military bands for military type applications, but for our purposes, this would be ideal in a simulated emergency test. I'm going to try this out. Typically I go to different locations. I'll go to the fire department in King City, I'll go to one in Newmarket, I'll go to a community center in Markham. That would be considered a shelter environment. So within a couple of minutes, I want to be able to deploy the antenna, lay everything out, get on the air, and start making those contacts and provide situational reports. So the ability to have something fast that I can put up would be ideal. And because we're in the low band coverage of 80 and 60 meters, those are perfect for MCOM frequencies because you're only going to be operating with people in your immediate area. There's no need to work anybody in Europe or anybody in Florida from up here in Toronto. So having a regionalized or lower area of communication coverage is better. The signals will be stronger. And funny enough, you don't pick up lightning storms from Oklahoma up here in Toronto when you're using an NVIS antenna because the signals are kind of out of the operating range. You can look on the net or take a look at my blog. There's a lot of information there on NVIS type stuff. So great solid antenna. We'll take a look at another deployment. Next time we're going to use the stainless steel spike, put that in the ground, set the antenna up, and we'll try that from a different park or a different location. But today I just wanted to show you how this thing kind of works out for the putting it on a sidewalk. The antenna too, the antenna wire, I also find that it's flexible, non-kinkable, and easy to roll up and back up and deploy, and it's got in these built-in wire holders. That was kind of nice. When I first undid them, I thought I would lose these immediately, but they're clipped in and connected in, so they can't be lost. So one thing I probably would like, I know the black is very, very stealthy, so in an HOA environment this is going to be a lot more difficult to see. You could probably pop it up at night, nobody's going to see what you're doing, and in the morning when you wake up it's already there, and unless they're looking at your property with binoculars or sending strike zones over your house, it's probably something that nobody's really gonna pick up on. If there was an issue around that, I maybe would probably consider maybe, you know, I don't want to avoid the warranty by changing the color from black to, let's say, a blue or a dark green. It would probably be something camo based that would be able to hide in the trees or something like that if you got a tree background. But anyways, for our purposes, Stealthy is pretty good, so very happy. Okay, 73s. Thanks a lot, guys.